Still, it's not surprising they were treated like kings, because when you do ask difficult questions, as ITN did last year when they questioned the band's suitability to front the anti-bullying campaign in the first place, you quickly get your knuckles wrapped.
By putting yourselves up as a champion for children...
We don't put ourselves up as that.
You have by taking this role as ambassadors.
But bullying, for me...
From what I'm seeing right now, you're putting my band in a very, very uncomfortable position by attacking them.
I don't feel I'm a talisman. I'm asking them how they can justify selling lyrics to children, which are so explicit. That's a perfectly justifiable...
We're not here about that. We're here about an anti-bullying campaign.
It may not seem important, but as celebs get increasingly involved with issues, they're also increasingly able to get away with the sort of thing a spokesperson never would.
The relationship between stars and the press is a one-way street. Put us on your show, plug us silly, but don't act like journalists or we won't come back, and neither will any of our other showbiz friends.
But perhaps the worst thing about all this celeb slurping is it's boring.
I mean, who really gives a toss about Sunita's gold boots?
It can sometimes be entertaining when the news gets a famous person on, especially if they genuinely grill them.
Just ask the Newsnight viewers who watched in astonishment as Mr. Issues himself, Stingford Stingington Sting, wandered unwittingly into the Paxman Thunderdome.
Do you ever feel uncomfortable travelling between your various homes in various continents at enormous carbon cost? Do you ever feel uncomfortable about that?
I think it's an amusing red herring for the media to blame celebrities for the global crisis we're in. But
you're not being blamed for it, you're just being accused of hypocrisy, that's all.
The economy can be a difficult thing to understand, especially when the news has tried to explain it to you. Have a look at this.
Every day there's been baffling new terminology to learn, with the latest being quantitative easing, the Bank of England's recent attempt to stop the economy tumbling into a great big bin full of bums. Now, unless you speak fluent jargon, it's not immediately clear what quantitative easing actually is.
In fact, as Newsnight found out when they hit the streets to ask human beings, even Brainiac Moss from the IT crowd doesn't know what it is.
The easing of quantitativeness.
Thank God then that the news is on hand to describe exactly what quantitative easing is in easy-to-follow metaphorical steps.
Put simply, quantitative easing is a tool for fixing a blockage in an economy that isn't running smoothly.
There you go, it's a sort of spanner, made of money.
But how does it work?
Well, I suppose you twist it into the stock market.
It's like creating money out of thin air or filling up a petrol tank with imaginary petrol. That is what most economists agree is needed to get any recovery started.
Oh God, he isn't making any sense. What I need is someone who can't help but speak in profoundly simple terms.
Hello, welcome to 5 News. I'm Natasha Kaplinsky.
I'm preemptively chuckling because I reckon she's about to tell us it's designed to encourage the banks and arse to get lending and spending.
It is designed to encourage the banks and arse to get lending and spending. Our chief correspondent Jonathan Samuels investigates whether these measures will help an economy that's been going off the rails.
Why, Natasha, that almost sounds like a cue for a bad railway metaphor.
The economy at the moment seems to be like a runaway train.
Great, all right, let's see you run with this one.
The government's been pulling lots of levers behind the scenes to try and slow down the economic crisis, but it's got to such a stage now that they're trying a different track.
Just tell me how it works.
It's called quantitative easing. The idea is to pump more money into the economy and get banks lending again.
Toot toot, the economy's made of trains.
We once had a model economy. The government hopes the latest measures will mean we soon see light at the end of the tunnel.
As anyone with eyes, ears and a brain knows, politicians don't always come across too well on TV, and they're often their own worst enemy, as any viewer who's sat through a party political broadcast will tell you. Without interviewers holding them to account, politicians can easily seem stuffy or complacent.
I think we can be fairly satisfied the way things have gone lately, don't you, Ram?
Yes, but we've got through our programme very well, and I've just come from the House, and we're right up to date.
Or weird and creepy.
We believe in Britain. We're all in this together. Good luck to you all, and good night.
Or bolshy and needy.
Stand firm. Don't be swayed. Give us a chance.
Or young and sexy.
Neil Kinnock's greatest asset is his youth.
Or grey and boring. Or Scottish and boring and sitting at a desk.
Good evening.
Good God, it's footage of Gordon Brown in the womb.
You'd be better off with Labour.
And when they're not telling you you're better off with Labour, they're telling you the economic situation is getting better more quickly than anybody thought this time last year.
There's no doubt that the economic situation is getting better, and it's getting better more quickly than anybody thought this time last year.
Even when politicians simply try and drum up support, they come across like a weird cult.
I just came to realise that if I believed in those principles and I supported what the Labour Party was doing, then I should really join up and play a part in trying to change things.
Yes, no matter how many zhuzhy modern TV techniques they employ to pass themselves off as normal people, politicians seem doomed to come across as snake oil salesmen or pricks. Maybe they could do with help from someone who really knows how TV works.
Somebody a bit like Simon Cowell.
Yes, entertainment deity Simon Cowell recently outlined his plan to redefine political TV in a revealing and ominous interview on the BBC's Heavyweight News Night.
You've said in the past that the X Factor could have other applications. What about some kind of political engagement for the X Factor?
Yeah, because it's the sort of thing I'd like to watch. There are so many really, really, really hot topics. And
like what?
Well, for instance, should we or should we be in Iraq and Afghanistan? If you actually asked most people in the country, why are we there? I couldn't even tell you.
Simon might like to know that an X Factor-style political show has been tried before in the form of ITV's snazzy political bear pit Vote For Me, which had all the usual talent show ingredients: a shiny studio, a panel of expert judges, an eager amateur lineup and a phone vote, in which, to the channel's embarrassment, was won by extreme right-winger Rodney Hilton-Potts.
Thank you very much. Finally, candidate number one, Rodney, tell us one thing you care about. Your time starts now.
Our pensioners didn't fight 2 world wars to save this great country, to have it swamped with immigrants.
Vote For Me wasn't a hit, but then it didn't have a red telephone in the middle.
We would have a red telephone in the middle, which is at any time someone from number 10 can call in. But I think something like that would be a good way for me to get involved in politics in my own way, which is it would be controversial. The public would eventually make the decision.
You know, I dread to think what a controversial political X Factor in which the public gets to decide might look like.
He's the most divisive politician in Britain today. He denied climate change. He denied the existence of black Welshmen.
There's no such thing as a black Welshman.
He denied 6 million dead.
I'm not a racist, no.
It's time.
That was a lynch mob.
To face Nick Griffin.
Well, that's all we've got time for in this compilation edition. Go away.
Coming up next tonight, Mark Lawson settles in for a chat with the star of our all-new Corridors of Power season drama on expenses, actor Brian Cox.